Well, Coach Bronson Moreau and the Georgia Southern Eagles, well, they've got themselves with a squeaky mic turn there, but in line to potentially make the college football playoffs. And that was a bit of a surprise last time out. We weren't expecting that. Now, Memphis did take over as we were getting through the last couple games of our season. That was just the regular season, though. Today is all about the postseason and finding out where it is that we're going to be playing. There are basically two roads we'll be traveling down, and they both start at the same spot. After a tremendous season that didn't see us lose after the Georgia game, and frankly, if we could have found the end zone at any point in that game, we would have rivaled the number 3 Georgia Bulldogs for that win. But then we dominated. And that means we are going to the Sun Belt title game, the same game we took from Georgia Southern last year when we were part of ULM. We're going to find out right off the bat who it is we're going to be playing against, as this is where both roads begin. Now, depending on what happens in this game and what happens in a couple other games around the league, we will either be turning towards the college football playoffs or towards a bowl game. That information we will not have out the gate, but we will be getting on here to Bowl Week, where we've got Southern Mississippi. They were a team that was constantly kind of going up and down towards the top. We're going to see what they got in store for us here today. Want to make sure we actually get on over to that week and make sure I got myself a little bit of some decent volume happening for myself, as you all should have some decent volume as well. You know what I did do? I turned on the music, but I didn't activate the music. Let's make sure we get that going here. Get the music bumping as we move on to the week that will begin our postseason. Sun Belt title game. Southern Miss right now, 69 rated defense, 67 overall. We are by far way out in front of all of our Sun Belt competition. In fact, Arkansas State was the closest in overall. They finish in 4th place on the west side. So Southern Mississippi, they went 7-5, 6-2, which would have kept them in 2nd place over on our side. But obviously, Sun Belt is one of the only sides, or only the only conferences that actually still does divisions. We'll see if we keep that going in College Football 27. But I think it's time we get on into game number 1 of today and find out what our fate's going to be as we come in ranked number 19. What a series this has been. Episode 8 will indeed be the last here for us. And we hope that we are finding our way into the college football playoffs. Well, let's take that head on out of here, because now what matters most is the game, as we have ourselves a rainy one down here in Georgia. Looking to take home that Sun Belt title. Georgia Southern was here last year with almost an entirely different squad, an entirely different coaching staff. Coach Moreau, though, coming on in as the assistant head coach, looks to give them what he took from them last year. And hopefully, with some other games going our way, maybe a Memphis loss, we might find our way to the postseason, full postseason, some playoff football. And indeed, it is going to be Coach Moreau's offense hitting the ball first. How will this rain affect things? We're going to find out, but we should be getting back our starting running back in Robinson, who missed the last handful of games due to some injuries. We did see Bradley play pretty well behind, Weston Bryan leading the group, and the emergence of Dallas, starting wide receiver, who we thought was going to be one of our primary guys this year. He had a bit of a quiet year. Gary had a pretty good year. But Robinson's back, and he's who we're going to go to first, slipping a weak arm tackle and gashing this defense for 19 play 1. This offense has just been too much for the Sun Belt this year. And that's why I really want to see us make that bowl game. Or not make that bowl game, make the postseason. Bowl game, obviously, would still have even with that. The 1st and 10 here. I want to be able to test out what this offense can do against some real competition. Though that time, Play goes to Southern Miss. Golden Eagles versus just the plain old Eagles as far as I'm aware of. Be a throw over the middle this time through the hands of Gary. That's not something we're used to from him. He's been a pretty sure-handed guy for us all season long, and you know why he dropped that? Because the music was a distraction. So let's get that on out of here for a 3rd and 10. And we look for a timing catch downfield, and there it is. That was simply the problem. The music playing in the background, the PA speaker guy didn't realize he had to turn it off. The 1st and 10 then down to the 33, facing the blitz, and they're going to wrap up Robinson. Loss of 2. Marcus Clinton. Not everyone could be a massive game. You're going to have trouble with that team for real. I'm going to have trouble with Southern Miss. You think Southern Miss has what it takes to take down this offense? As they do get a couple good back-to-back plays here. I think we go to the old faithful on the 3rd and long. Look for that halfback screen. Got Robinson to the sideline side of the field. Look to get a convoy in front for him, but slow on the turn. 30, however, not too slow on that turn, and they're saying not field goal range here. Now, I'm not actually trying to run this play, a little fourth wall break here, but I'd like to see if we could get a little bit closer. As the rain is causing a difficult effect, I guess, for our kicker. We'll take that 5. Southern Miss just being a little aggressive here. Give us the free. Now we'll send out the kicker and see if he's got the leg for it. A 50-yarder. Rain coming in a little bit sideways. Got to battle against it. See if we can start off with some points here, and no, we do not. Overcorrection from the kicker. Relying too much on the meter. That might be our first drive in a long time that doesn't end up with a single point on the board. That'll turn things over to the defense. Now, as these start to become elimination games, we'll definitely chime in with some of the defensive drives here and there. Watch what they're up to, especially if they get down into some scoring range. Converting the 3rd down there is Duke Clark, rushing for 13. And a big one here for Camario Taylor. Quarterback keeper, almost down to the red zone. We'll look to slow it down from here. See if they can claim the first lead. As they start with a shotgun look here. Ball marked at the 23. Will be a handoff, and swallowing it up is the defensive front. Loss of 1. Need a little bit more here then from the defensive group that we also helped put together, but they get gashed now down the middle. Down to the 11 goes Duke Clark. A little bit of back and forth here. Defense makes the good play up front, then they give it up front. Just outside, goal to go. It's quarterback keeper here. Line holds well with the help of 25, stepping down from the linebacker spot. Will be hurry up here for Southern Miss. Getting the call from the sideline. Sticking with basically the same formation. Handoff, shaken by 1. He's down to the 5. Jeremiah Tickett getting the tackle. Right now, Southern Miss trying to get that lead here with the chat in their favor. It's a handoff, but tackle from behind leaves 4th and 4. A sharp angle here from the right hash. Already 1 missed field goal on the day in this game. And he misses theirs as well. Both teams missing their field goals as the weather proving to be too difficult. Plus just a sharp angle in general. We'll take the field then. Hitting the ball at the 20 following the miss from Southern Miss. Did they jinx themselves? Perhaps so. As we get Robinson left side. Little cut, tries to get by the safety, help arise, but it's another good start to the drive. We just need to see that drive continue. First drive had its hiccups, ended up stalling out. Look for the quick throw here, and hold on a second. We got to take a look at that one. Walton, tight end this year, who's had a tremendous stretch of games. In the heavy rain, This throw a little bit off, but he just one-hand palms it. That's what we want to see from our tight ends. He's also helped out with the offense, who hasn't really had what they were looking for with Dallas and Maher on the outside. It's been a little bit lackluster. Big man up front, though, making the play for Southern Miss. That'll help quiet things down after that nice grab. Didn't end up going for a whole lot of yards. It was about 3. Needing at least 8 here. It's going to be a scramble forward for Brian, who's getting that first down. And already we're going to have to take a quick little pause up here. We all saw that notification, right? Well, let me get that music then bumping in the background as I switch out these controller batteries. Should have checked that beforehand, right? Fine. Throwing stuff. For how much Mike is actually picking. Call it. Get time. On the feet. Some problems coming in with the headset, I guess we say. Luckily, they let us change it out. Call it good here. Would you look at that? Just like that, everything's back working on the sideline, and this game can resume. Note to self, for next time, check the controller batteries before we begin. What should be the final play here of the quarter? As we get a gap down the middle, Robinson spinning forward, taking the ball down to the 31. We are through the first tier of the Sun Belt Championship game. A rainy one, but that is to kind of be expected. Very even play across the board. Passing yards, though, in favor of Georgia Southern, as we haven't seen a pass yet from Southern Miss. This game stays, though, tied up 0-0. We get back on into things. Well, they're ready to protect the outside, so let's not do that. Change things up here. As we get Robinson left side this time, going to fight forward for about 5. 7 rushes, 54 yards. And that's a light day's work for him. The spread look here, a little bit of some play action. Nothing quite opening up. A spinning throwaway and no flag down on it. Though I think you could argue there should have been an intentional grounding call. Instead, it stays 3rd and 5 at the 26. Southern Miss giving them the free play. Walton towards the end zone, gets under it, and that's going to be a touchdown. Cue up the music, because we already know that that penalty is going to be declined. Coach Moreau's team scores first, and that is big thanks to the Southern Miss cheerleaders for cheering us on, and for their kicker missing the field goal. A little bit of some shenanigans happening early on in this one. See if they could bounce back here. Southern Miss had a good start to their previous drive. They just couldn't knock it in from inside the 5. Knocked away here by Caleb Ellis. And then incomplete throwaway by Taylor. So a 3rd and 10. And they only managed 2. Ball will move back on over then to Georgia Southern as they get the ball at the 28. We've seen this before. Other teams give up a good fight early on, but they just can't hang with Southern. Is that going to be the case? Or are we going to see us once again break away and secure a spot in the college football playoffs? For that to happen, we know one thing for sure. We got to take this division and this conference. Late throw to Gary backing up. Now, we'll say we already did take the division. Obviously, we're here in a title game. But we know one thing. Did accomplish that quite handedly. But our job's not done. Need some blocks here. The cut back left side. It's Robinson getting forward to the midfield logo. First down on a 3rd and 2. But how would this offense manage versus facing a little bit of some tougher competition? Wide receiver screen. They're going to hook up with Maher. Haven't seen as much of that this year as I think Coach was wanting. Trying to dial in his offense before the next school he heads to, which we should be finding out in just a couple of weeks. Another quick throw, this time through the hands of Maher. Hard to get some consistency going when you drop passes. That has been a problem for him all season, not necessarily rain-related. 3rd and 6. Throw this time too tall. The tight end can't paw it. That will be the end of that drive. Not going for it on the 4th and 6. Instead, punted away. Still leaves a long field here for Southern Miss. So they are getting the ball up around midfield with a good return. 3rd and 5, and once again, they're going to go 3 and out. Our defense has done a terrific job this season of keeping us well in charge of these games, and that is even with a pretty much a lackluster, at best, linebacker group. Floating this one out, it is to Walton. Good block from Dallas, and he will get up to the 40, actually crossing midfield down to the 40. Leaving us about 4 minutes to play here in the half, as we're looking for a little bit more on the scoreboard. But that one's going to get picked off. Too fancy of footwork and not getting open, plus getting the juke by. Not a good play there for Weston Bryan. And that gives the Southern Miss Eagles, Golden Eagles, an opportunity. They got to tie this game up with 3:50 left on the clock. Again, if they get inside that 25, we'll make sure we jump in. Jeremiah Tickett helping them with that with the penalty. And then dropped, though, by Morris. That leaves 2nd and 5. And they're going to hook up with 20. Duke Clark, once again, gashing this defense. We've seen him do that a couple times today. We'll slow it down as they are inside the red zone. Ball marked here at the 19. They're going to get a little pre-snap movement. Morris over to the right-hand side. Keeper this time goes to Clark. He's got a convoy in front as it goes for a 1st down, but it looks like this one's going to be coming back. Holding not called on Georgia Southern like we're so used to seeing, but Southern Miss instead. R.J. Whitehead. To move them back then to the 29 with a 1st and 20. How many times have we seen that go the other way? RPO, quick throw with an extra spin for pizzazz, not extra yardage. Call it about 5 yards. We'll see if they get the ball snapped here before the 2-minute breather. Indeed they do. More play action, quick throw up top on the RPO. Another short gain. Both sides will get a little bit of a breather here. Actually, penalty beforehand. That's another one on Southern Miss. Illegal man downfield. But perhaps a little bit of an extended 2-minute break. Still leaves 2nd, this time and 20. 4-man rush. Almost got back there. 25 lost track of Clark, spinning off the tackle and fighting down to the 20. Almost back to where they started when we jumped on out here. But at the 21, it's play action under pressure, and he's not getting away. Taken down back at the 34. This would be a long field goal attempt, and they're not even going to try it. They keep the offense out there. 1:26 on the clock, 3 timeouts for them, 2 for us. And it's Taylor throwing downfield one-on-one, and it's going to be caught for the touchdown. They found the matchup they were looking for, and it was just misplayed by the corner. You can't give the man the inside. Grant Page got the inside, and Taylor, the wobbly pass here in the rain, put it up for his man to make the play. And that means we're going to have a limited time here to try to answer the PAT. This game is tied up 7 apiece. So we do not run away with it, as it was our own mistakes that have kept us from doing so. Some turnovers in this one, as we will get the touchback here from Max Joseph. A long field in front then as we start at the 25. We did use 1 timeout there on defense, so we only have 2. Got to try to get at least back into field goal range as a way to make up for what happened last time. Look for a toss downfield. Well covered. That is what we needed on defense. The cover man kept the inside leverage. And even our 6'5" receiver couldn't find a way to pull it away. Spread look here. Looking for more of that timing. This time we get Gary with the first down. That'll pause the clock for just a moment. Got to hustle back up here, Brian. Again, got to be careful here with the amount of timeouts we've got. This time it's going to be caught by Ware, crossing the Oppo 40, and that is where Coach Moreau is going to call one of his 2 last remaining timeouts. 8 for 16 on the day is Brian wants to make sure he cleans that up. This is where he can start to utilize a little bit more here of your own legs. Now a penalty flag there right when he throws the ball. More of a flip forward. Looks like this will be a holding call on Georgia Southern this go around. We've seen a lot of that. Johnny Williams, one of the culprits, one of the many culprits of that. In fact, I'm pretty sure everyone on this team has at least 15 on the season. Backing us up then to the 48. 1st and 20. As we look to go with the screen. Get a convoy out in front. Leave one for us to beat, but we do not manage to run through the man. Instead, we're going to have to go hurry up here. That clock moves inside 40 seconds. 1 timeout left here. Georgia Southern Eagles. As Brian rolls out to the right-hand side here, his receiver does get open. It's going to be caught by Gary. And they are going to call the timeout there. A little bit risky calling it that early. We'll see if it ends up coming back to bite them. They are definitely within striking distance, and hopefully this time their kicker has a better feeling if they do have to go that way. A roll here. A toss up for Maher, and it does go right back up. Neither party can end up finding it. Stewart breaks it up. Leaves 2nd and 10. Looked like they had a spy on Brian as well. Want to make sure he doesn't find a way to get away as that pass is out, but well short. Now you might have one more opportunity here towards the end zone. Other than that, you're going to have to find a way to stop this clock and send out the field goal unit. So this one is up to Gary, and it's in and out of his hands. Had to know, though, that they were going to go to the 6'5" receiver there. This time the win more so in their favor than against. And this time the field goal is good. Georgia Southern just finding a way to actually pull in front. You know what? We're going to get the halftime full view here. What'll be our final game in this series, playing inside the Sun Belt. This is our final episode, playing through no matter where that does end up taking us. We hope to the playoff road, but for right now, that is in question, as we only managed 10 points there in the first half. Elijah Walton getting that player spotlight, 4 catches, 46 yards, 11 per catch. That math doesn't quite math, but it is a touchdown on the board for him. We've seen him crop up here and there throughout this one. Ultimately, the play of Brian has kind of kept us a little bit out of this one. We've seen some inaccurate throws, a little bit high, a little bit wayward. The interception as well. Southern Miss has just purely taken what we've given them, and we've given them a lot of space down the middle. A little bit of some up and down, bad leverage play there from the corner. That's their touchdown play as we head to the second half. We will not be starting with the ball, so it's up to our defense then to put us in a good spot. As we do get not so much of a good defense on the return. They pick up 37 yards and give themselves a shorter field to start. But struggling to get going here does leave 3rd and 7. And that's going to be a 3-and-out to start the second half. We'll take over back at our own 4-yard line. This is where we could really start to manage this game. All depends on how we react here to start our second half. With a long field in front, looks like they're trying to send that blitz. And Robinson cannot escape it. Looked like there was a couple different play call changes there to sort it out, but Southern Miss, they just made the better plays. Not too often does this line get beat in terms of just pure run blocking, and it works out there for Robinson. One to beat, and he shoves him out at the 49, missing that last gear or two. But over 100 yards on that run today. We basically still have 2 full quarters to play. This team definitely missed him. while he was out with injury. Bradley hasn't seen the field yet today, on offense at least. We'll see if he does get any work. Little RPO here with a good lead block. That's Williams all the way into plus side territory down to the 27 on a $141 for Branson Robinson. At one point, he looked to be a Heisman hopeful, but that injury kind of derailed that. Coach Moreau did have a Heisman winner last year. Open target downfield. That's Gary. Stopped just short of the end zone. 3 Southern Miss defenders collapsed on him at the last moment to save the score. Well, that does set up the chip shot here for Branson Robinson. Make sure we get a nice double there over on the edge, actually, player. Not so much a DT. Follow the blocks, but what a play made from the linebacker, Kabila, if I'm pronouncing that one correctly. Absolutely stood up Robinson. So much for the chip shot, but he'll get it the next go. Widen that lead and set off the fireworks. They're still working here on this rainy day. I thought they would have been washed away. But we still got the told they were tough. Southern Miss is playing well, though. Giving up only their second touchdown of the game to an offense that absolutely ran all over the Sun Belt. And I'll agree with you, they are definitely playing tough. 17-7, though. Can their offense get going? Well, not with the interception from Bally. We're going to take over with a short field then. This is where other teams have struggled going against us. Just one little mistake, and then it just unrails. We're going to change up this look here. 2 high safeties. A little bit of some play action. And tossing this one up. Maher not going to quite get to that one. Just not possible based off of where the quarterback threw that one. Weston Bryan not playing his best today. Hopefully, though, this is the worst we see from him with some big games ahead. Robinson running through a man before he gets trucked himself. His 15th carry for 15-6 on the day. What a job running as he's huffing and puffing out there. But we're going to give him the ball one more time here. See if he can find the edge. Not quite. Southern Miss doing a better job that time. And Bradley will check in, giving him a much-needed breather. Well, hard count, looking for that free play, which we do get. And I guess not Bradley, that was a running back. I guess Weston Bryan didn't see Bradley getting out there. He could have checked that one down, and he actually might have had some space. I guess with a free play, doesn't quite matter. Gives us the free 5. We're down to the 6 here with 2nd and 4. Robinson back in the game. He seems to be the best target, but again, Weston Bryan. I don't know what's going on with his throwing mechanics in this one, but these passes are not going where they should be. As he keeps the ball taken down from behind, Jimmy Riggins. Looks a little bit like Josh Hines Allen coming off the edge. Sets up chip shot field goal then. Attack on 3. Have I tried Oregon's playbook? Not fully. We've touched on it a little bit. Highlighted that, I think, in one of the build videos. I can't remember which one it was, but we touched on their offensive build. Outside of that, in College Football 26, I've just used custom playbooks. Besides in this series. This series I am just using, I believe, the veer and shoot offense. But our defense has played very well here this second half, looking for another quick stop, but they give up 2. They were only able to give up 1 to keep them from continuing this drive, though quickly force a 3rd and 10, and this time they shut it down. 4th and 9, we get the ball back. This has been where we've thrived this year, the defense shutting down opposing offenses. As we brought in a lot of talent from some bigger tier schools for one season. Let's see what they could do here. Try to win a big old trophy for us, or several. Of course, Bujo always chiming in with that 27 defenses serious. Oh, trust me, I know. We're going to start breaking down how to read defenses. 427 here shortly as the big man, Glenn Ehlers, finds his way through. You enjoy the rebuilds? Hey, I'm glad you enjoy those rebuilds. We're definitely going to be looking more so into doing more of those. I know there's a little bit more playbooks in the game, College Football 27. So we're going to look to build off of that series when that game comes out too, talking about building for some of those top-tier offenses as well as defenses. The 1st and 10 here for us. We find ourselves at the midfield line. Robinson almost bursting through, but hey, we'll take the 4. After all you need is 3 to 4 yards per play, and you're golden. As we head to the final quarter of Sun Belt play this season. Georgia Southern looking to hold on for the win and potentially find themselves headed to the college football playoffs. Though it's not guaranteed. We found ourselves there a couple weeks ago, giving us hope that we'll find our way there with a Sun Belt win. Of course, we could also see some favoring of some bigger conferences taking that final spot. Is that realistic? Fortunately, yes it is. Branson Robbins, he just continues to have a dominant performance here, coming back from injury, showing no signs of slowing down. Neither was the big man, reading that was a screen. He got to the quarterback quickly. It's not going to be a good day statistically for Weston Bryan, who coach was really excited for. Another rush gets through. And 2 blockers are up front there just standing, watching. Can't have it. Just can't have that. 3rd and 19 is looked to set up a little halfback swing. This time the blockers don't get in front, and that drive goes nowhere. Southern Miss with a big stand here to begin the 4th quarter. Now they've got to take this drive to the house if they are to have a chance. They start deep. Start with a good gain, though. Back-to-back here, leaving a 3rd and 1. They keep it alive with 3. One more here to Duke Clark. He's been their offense today, and it seems like they're going to try to get him to carry him, but a 4th and 1 here in the 4th quarter. Do they go for it, or do they punt? They get it done. 5 more here to Duke Clark. They finally leave it in the hands of the quarterback. He throws it away. Knocked away, and quickly it's another 3rd and 10. And it's incomplete. They went for it last 4th down. This time they need 10. And that's a throwaway turnover on downs. Defense gets the stop and provides a short field here for the offense. Perhaps trying to find their own way of putting this game to rest. A touchdown drive here could do it. Quick throw outside is to Gary. Big block coming in from 70, the starting left guard. He's almost at 100 yards receiving today. Needs just 3 more. He's going to be lined out, though, way wide, all the way to the right side slot. This offense uses a lot of wide splits. Penalty down right as the ball is tossed, and that looks to be a holding on the man we just gave credit to. It's always a little bit of one step forward, one step back, especially when it comes to this offensive line and their up and down play. 1st and 20 then, back to the 24. Go for Gary. That does mean a little bit more possibility. Swinging this one, though, wide. It's to Walton. Rumbling down. They're going to say fumble. He definitely looked down on the field. Either way, the ball rolls out of bounds, so it will maintain Georgia Southern ball. It looks like they got the call right up in the booth. They're going to look to quickly overturn that one. No fumble. Play clock runs. Moving down inside 440. They'll look to go to the air here. Maher, he's got a little bit of some space. Caught down to about the 1.5, maybe 2. But it's Williams with his 2nd holding of the game. And in games like this, we give you some leeway. But 2 we can't have. It looks like coach is going to look to pull him. Instead, we'll put in Joyner, who's played arguably probably just as many snaps as everyone else due to all the holding calls. But here at the 21-yard line. Handing this one off, it's Robinson following behind Joyner. Actually got a nice double team there with Walton. Leaves us 3rd and 13. Was looking at the 4-minute mark here. The hard count, nothing free. Gary doesn't get the cut we were looking for there. They were all over the big man as Marcus Samuel, their big man, all over our quarterback. But once again, we're sending out the field goal unit in this one. Southern Miss forcing more field goal attempts than pretty much any team we've faced this year, and that includes Georgia. Well, that one might have been due to all the turnovers that game. But we do at least tack on 3 more. And it's not looking good here for Southern Miss. They trail 23-7. Inside 3.5 minutes to play. They're going to need some big hitters here. They can't rely on their running back to get it all done for them. As he comes up short there on third, it's 4th and 2. And a penalty is going to back him up, make it 4th and 7. Dropped by Barry. That is pretty much the ball game at this point. Southern Miss does still have 3 timeouts, so we can't just kneel it away yet. If we get them to call those timeouts, get a first down inside 2 minutes, this game is all but signed, sealed, and delivered. They'll have just 2 more timeouts after that. Short run, maybe about half a yard at best. Riggins getting the tackle. We'll say their defense played well today, better than any other of the Sun Belt defenses this season. With that still being said, Robinson has racked up a whole lot of yards. $174, and that's just counting what he's done on the ground. He's had some catches today, too. Bunch trips to the right-hand side with a little hard count there from Brian. No one jumps. Quick throw. A little bit off the mark there to Gary. Looking for the first down, and yet again, it's just another field goal attempt here for the Eagles. At least getting their practice in before whatever comes their way next. Fortunately, haven't seen any sort of updates on Memphis down below. Not sure if they even made a title game of their own. But they were the team that took over our spot, that 12th seed. And we're pretty close to finding out exactly where we're going to be. Shortly on, I think, is what my brain was thinking. But 3rd and 1, we do give up that first down here. We're inside 2 to play. 4th and 1, they continued their drive at least. But they are well behind here. 19 points, and it doesn't look like they're going to find the end zone at this pace. As they continue to just run that ball, they run the clock down to 000. And Georgia Southern this year is taking home your Sun Belt title. This is the 2nd year in a row for Coach Bronson Moreau. Took it away from Georgia Southern last year with ULM. This time he gives it to him. And while it wasn't his best performance in this game, Weston Bryan and Branson Robinson really were the 2 players that helped elevate this offense to this point and has given us a shot at the college football playoffs. Though, is not for sure, but we're for sure going to find out here shortly. And how short or long this stream is going to be. Let's go ahead and bring that face on in here so that way we could get at least a reaction to whatever is to come. Get a couple of those things relined back up. But let's take this one to the hub. We'll probably have to sim through, imagine, 2 weeks before we get that information. If I had a drum roll lined up, right now would be a great time to do it. Career record broken. Weston Bryan for Georgia Southern has set the career passing yards record. We need to check on those records before we are all said and done. If you guys could help me remember to do that as well. Sun Belt champions. That'll just help fill out Coach Moreau's trophy cabinet a little bit more. I think, in fact, we actually have taken all of the trophies I thought we would possibly get this year, including some rivalry plaques. We did not beat Georgia. That might have been one. But we do get the rivalry plaque, or actually, that's the Commissioner's Cup. We got with Georgia State. We got the rivalry plaque here for Appalachia State. We got the Sun Belt title. Now, what bowl are we going to be headed to? Or is it just pure first round college football playoffs? Conference Championship Week. We can wave goodbye as we hope for some massive news. Well, it's not a massive news, but we do get a running back to commit. Alex Frank, Montgomery, Alabama, 2-star. We also do get a 2-star edge in Jimmy Shabazz. What a name. Unfortunately, we're not going to see him play ever. That's a great name. Absolutely terrific name. Any news here? Branson Robinson is taking home the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Week. Quite obviously. We don't have the news yet, but after this week, we should as to where we are heading. Bowl game or college football playoffs. And I'm not teasing by just looking out the college football playoff board. We could have looked there, but no, we're not doing that. Frederick Cloud has joined. No information yet, but we should get some news here. Noah Fafita, he's going to take home the Heisman again. Branson Robinson was close to taking that, but the injuries definitely thwarted that attempt. And it is just gonna be a bowl game. I know there were some people talking earlier about how there might be a little bit of some weird behind-the-scenes action, some favorites to some of those top-tier teams, or upper-tier teams, I guess I should say. In fact, let me just quickly pull up that comment to give a full-on shout-out real quick. Let's see. Seattle Sports Fan 2026. We were having a conversation earlier today about if we did not make the playoffs and how there might be a little bit of a conspiracy theory behind it. But it will just be Central Michigan, the Chippewas here, as we head to Montgomery, Alabama for the Salute to Veterans Bowl. And at least we do have a great helmet for that. So that at least makes sense. But who took it from us? College football playoff bracket does stay with Memphis at 12. And they were the lowest ranked team coming in at 16. We finished, at least getting through conference play, at 19. So we did not move up or down winning that Sun Belt title. So it's a little unfortunate, but I think that's just going to give Coach Moreau a little bit of a chip on his shoulder for whatever team decides to offer him that full-on coach job that's going to require managing NIL, practices. We're going to be talking a little bit about practice tomorrow, so make sure, if you haven't already, hit that bell icon down on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, or scroll on down and hit the sub button that way, whichever one you do prefer to use. But we did not make it. I do want to see, though, did Memphis play in a conference championship, or did we just get booted out for no real reason? Go back to conference championship week, and Memphis did play East Carolina, and they did win. East Carolina found a way to pull that one off. Well, then maybe we would have made it. But they would have needed a extra touchdown in there with a 2-point conversion to send that one to overtime. It just wasn't in the cards for us. Hauser here only 52% complete. Maiden 66% complete. I mean, looked like it was probably a pretty decent game, but not the outcome we needed. Easy win against Central Michigan, you say. Well, you were pretty accurate with Southern Miss, but it looks like we got ourselves just one more game to get on into today before we go ahead and wrap up this series in a little tiny bow. And then we're going to get a whole lot more stuck into talking a lot about college football 27. We keep hearing a whole lot about those defenses. We're going to start talking a lot more about how to read those defenses. Make sure you are prepared for when the game comes out so those good defenses are not shredding you from the start. But speaking of start, let's go ahead and actually start on up this game. Get into our last run here with Coach. Just see where this thing takes us. The Salute to Veterans Bowl, and of course with that, the Salute to Service helmet. I mean, how can we not, right? Let's get that one in there. Chippewas here. What are we looking at? Maroon helmet, only thing they got. You know, you're playing in a bowl game. You got to have some gold out there. So let's give them the gold pants, the gold shoes. If you're curious, again, this is the offense and defense we're running, and let's jump on in. for the final game here for Coach Bronson Moreau, College Football 26. As we head out onto the field, looks like we got ourselves at least a nice night game happening here. Mobile, Alabama, I believe, South Alabama Stadium. So looks honestly like we're going to be pretty comfortable here. Very similar to our stadium. The crowd shouldn't affect things too much. Chippewas, they had to go a lot further than we did to find themselves here at this game. Both sides take the field for the final time this season. Leave your predictions on the score now. Number 19 facing unranked, with a few little towers in the background. Get that music paused up right there. Defense is going to get us underway, and in fact, you know what? We're going to watch some of these here. We're going to watch a little bit of the defense, see what they got. It's the final game of the series. Let's give it our full attention, as they will take the return. Looking to find a crease, and finally taken down at about the 26. Didn't look like Coach Moreau was all too happy about that. And he'll be fully in charge of a defense here soon. Special teams, all the different staff. We've got a long series coming up here for us for College Football 27. And I think we're also going to get a little mini-series going, a little Coach Mode live stream series. See how well that one goes, as the defense does give us a nice good stuff to start off here. Going to see what kind of offense the Chippewas are providing. A little bit of a pistol strong look here. The handoff down the middle, finding that crease, and going to pick up the first down. Bodiford. That name sounds familiar. I feel like we picked that guy up in one of the program rescue challenges. Getting the handoff here, and he's going to get taken down quickly. That's been the up and down play we've seen from this defensive interior. A whole lot of big stops, and then gash of 15. This time, though, we're going to meet him in the backfield. 17 off the edge with a TFL, setting up a 3rd and 11. That'll be a bunch down to the bottom, one up top here. Is that a number 20 up top? As they go with a handoff, had a big man in front, but Bodiford runs by. That ball's on the ground, and it looks like this one is recovered by the Eagles. And it should stand. Looked like the Chippewas running back was laying on top of a body. Again, we'll see if the booth decides anything else, but as it stands, that is Carlo Thompson forcing the fumble, and we do take over. Elijah Fears recovers. There is no booth review. The quick check upstairs stood. And it's Weston Bryan, this time not in a rainy game. Handing it off to Robinson, who's going to scoot forward, call it about 14. Now, one thing I'm not quite sure what's happening here is the double hashes. What's that about? There's definitely no NFL team playing at this stadium, so I'm not sure why they got the double hash. As we roll outside here, man gets open, that's Gary. Can't quite break through the tackle, but once again, he's got us down to the 5. Last time he did this, we ended up actually getting stonewalled down at the goal line and had to settle for a field goal. I want to make sure we punch this one in. As it's Bryan trying to run through the man. Final game of the season, why not? Put it all out on the lines. Looking for a little hurry up here. Going to get Gary and Walton both on over to the right-hand side. Little RPO drawn up. We're going to go with a handoff here. Robinson had a little bit more space to the outside, but that man, he likes to get north and south. So this one's all going to hinge then on a good block on the all-star DT. I was going nose tackle, and I combined N and D. You try that. See how well that works. 3rd and goal. Robinson, they do not give it. That one looked mighty close. You have Bryan calling for the offense to get lined back up. Last time we're really going to be able to utilize this non-mechanic, I would say. Weston Bryan's got the touchdown as he dives in. Starting the salute to service game with a salute there following the touchdown. 7-0. Chippewas unable to score their first drive. Not the cleanest inside the red zone, but it does count. And we'll let the kickers manage the kickers here while we can. We'll still jump on into the defense as well, at least while this game is still close. This time they start at the 25 without the return. Not end a game. Let's not do that. Chippewa's second drive then. They had a little bit of some up and down, driving it up, stalling out with a fumble. It was still going to be a fourth down. Good tackle there from 17, Jaden Davis. Terrific job of just maintaining that edge. Bodied the blocker and all. Gain of 2. Little pre-snap movement here, setting up a speed option by the look of that. I guess the quarterback just viewed that as a pure run. No pitch with it. Leaves 3rd and 12, empty set. The 4-man rush. Stepping up in the pocket. He's got time aplenty until he doesn't. Big man gets back there. It's Elijah Fears. Same man who had that fumble recovery ends the next drive. 4th and 15. That ought to be a punt. Defense definitely coming to play in this one. Don't imagine that they're going to go for it at this point. So let's just jump on through that punt. 55 yards and a 13-yard return from Tommy Maher. I was hoping we were going to be able, I should say, to get those receivers a bit more involved this season. The outside receivers just really didn't. I think that's one negative I have about this veer and shoot offense. I like the quick throw mechanic, the RPOs. I love all that, but the splits are just so wide you can't read them. Unless you change your camera, and then you're just way too zoomed out. Following our blocks here, there goes Robinson. Almost slipping by. Trying to set up a blindside block there, not quite. The first down nonetheless. We got a little bit of some play action here. They drop back into coverage, then we're going to roll out here. Hopefully someone will get open. No, we'll just scoot forward then, shaking off the contact. That's definitely a Big Ben Roethlisberger 2.0 kind of run. You know, I was going to check that play, but not with the adjustments they made. Robinson, though, tracked down at the line. Going to take an athletic defense to stop what I got planned for this offense next season. 3rd and 1. Look for the quick throw. It's caught. Flat. Dropping it. He closed the season really strong, but not so much of strong hands there. As we look for the double once again on number 93. We mostly get it enough for Robinson to at least scoot forward for that 4th and 1 conversion that we're going to go hurry up off of. Back to the line here. Dallas having to get all the way back out there. As they send that blitz, we go play action off of it. Look for the check down here. Spinning grab to Walton. Couldn't quite keep his feet cleanly. So again, starting with a gain of 3. Not bad. As this should be the final play here of the quarter. It's going to be Brian taking this one forward with a first down, and through the end of the first quarter, we head to the second in a 7-0 ball game here, looking to add one final trophy before we pack up the office, find out where we're going to be going to next. Now, I'm not going to lie here. I was thinking that if we made the playoffs, it would give a lot more reality to some teams that have been suggested, like Mississippi State, South Carolina, Memphis for college football 27, but not making it, does that hinder the likelihood of those schools? Yancey with a good open field tackle. One of the few negative plays here for this offense today. Brian keeping, though, to follow, taking the contact yet again, setting up a 3rd and 2. Not shying away from hits in this one. Really hasn't been his MO this year. He hands this one off. It's to Robinson, grinding out that first down. Call it about 4 over the middle. I'll take him down then to the 12. Spreading the defense out a little bit here. One high safety guarding the post. Rush definitely forced that line down here, and it's going to be Bryant looking to get outside, and he will find that end zone. Just had enough space there as Dallas guarded the outside. Make it 14-0 here. Eagles soaring in front. Not too much longer are we going to be able to continue making puns like that. Guess it all ends up depending, too, on what school we do play with. College Football 27, and there will be multiple schools. We will have multiple different kinds of series going, so that way they don't overlap too much. We'll see, though. The Chippewas can find their way back into things here with a good offensive drive. First half, they really did not manage much. You know what? Did I turn off that background music? Yes, I did. Good. The handoff here, just getting by Bodiford, picking up 3. Find myself switching between Rice and Liberty and Oregon playbook. Those are all really good playbooks for more of a, and I don't mean this to be a pun, but a spread option. And not in terms of actual pitching option, but a spread playbook that has a lot of options. As we do have a holding call out on the field here. That's going to back up the Chippewas. Sam Seacrest. Just stick to singing. It's close enough, right? That's a joke for the old people, including myself. With a 2nd and 17, handoff goes Bodiford, taken down as he crosses the line. 3rd and 16. They're still back at the 19, haven't even crossed the 20 with that penalty. Empty set here facing the blitz, and it's heavy. Gonna pick up the sack. Getting back there to drop him at the 11. 4th and 24. There's only one option from there, and that is a punt. Enan Nixon. We've seen his name pop up a lot throughout this one, and we will start to maybe slow down how much we're taking a look at this defense until we see, hopefully, Central Michigan getting on into things here. But a horrific punt leaves a rather short field here for Georgia Southern. They start at the 36-plus side. Corner help, or safety help, downfield, not looking promising. We're going to check out of that then. Look for plays more up the sideline. Or Brian trying to scramble back to the line. It'll be the first sack credited to Bird. Loss of 2. Keeping with 2 spread. Then a lot of early movement both sides of the line. And well, frankly, we've seen too many penalties on this man. Williams jumping early. Less leeway here in this one. You at least got to be a part of that title game. We just can't have that. Too many errors for this offensive line this season. Luckily, we've been able to overcome a lot of that. We got ourselves a 2nd and 17, though, here. As they do not cross. Weston Bryan thinking Tommy Maher was going to cross the face or even behind Johnson, looking like he was going the other way. But that just might be the spark that the Chippewas needed. Surrender Cobras up by 14. I don't know if that's all necessary. Ari Johnson with the pick. And you know what? We're going to stay out here with the defense. Again, could just happen to be the spark their offense needed. They start at the 40. 2 turnovers late this season for Bryan. Keeper not going to get too far. Linebacker sat there lurking. Gain of 3, though. From the pistol, they go play action. Roll up top. Quick throw. Too tall for the man crossing the middle. QB still took a shot as well. Leaving 3rd and 7. They go with some more play action. No, this time it's going to be triple option. Losing them 2 and a 4th and 9 coming off the pick. Their offense has just not been able to manage anything here in this one. They do, however, get a good punt this time. Maher with a good juke. Looking to get outside. He crosses the 20. And we'll get the ball here at the 23. 4:05 to go in the first half. It's blitz wide, but safety help over the top. Look to take the screen here underneath. Flag is down. Good stiff arm. And he's going to cough up that ball, though the big fella is there to recover. And that's good, because if that was recovered by the Chippewas, they would have got the ball. Instead, a decision to make here for him. 1st and 20 or 2nd and 14. They go 1st and 20. That's something you would go with. I might have gone with the 2nd and 14. Instead, we find ourselves back at the 13, not getting anything free there despite the jump, and chucking that one away. They do, however, still get 2nd and 20. So I guess it ends up working in their favor. Not going with the wow. Backtrack that. Not going with declining that penalty. 2nd and 20. As we find our big man up the seam, but I guess our quarterback thinks that he's 6'8" instead of 6'5", because that one was just too tall. So 3rd and 20 then. As Brian checks the sideline here, getting the call in from Coach. Looks like they're going to make a few more adjustments out there as well. Trips to the short side as they look for that timing hit, and they're going to get it. Tommy Maher. Looks like the corner was expecting just a go route all the way downfield. Not the case. A little RPO to follow. That's going to get it out to Ware. Good block by Dallas. 1st down here for the Eagles. That's a good note on why to never give up on a play or a set of downs. Set up with a 3rd and 20. They still get the job done. Big block shed, though, from 93. C.J. Mims. If he doesn't hit that, we're at least picking up something with that cutback lane we had back left. 2nd and 12. We're going to motion out Robinson here. As we find our big boy over the middle. Come on now. Battle of big boys, and not in the way you would imagine with the line versus line. Mims versus Gary trying to make plays out there. Swatted in the face of Brian as they send the blitz here. It's going to be Must. Dallas brings it down, breaks the tackle, and gets down to the 30. That's the biggest play we've seen from him today. And we're out of time as we hit the 2-minute breather, which is good because I didn't like the play we had set up anyway. 1st and 10 at the 30, inside 2 to play. Good man coverage on the outside. Maher might have the step there. Going to see if the safety help rolls over in time. As we look up the sideline, touchdown, Tommy Maher with the spinning grab as that ball was just a little bit behind, but not enough for the corner to make up the space. Tommy Maher with a rare touchdown for him this season. And a good enough throw from Weston Bryan. Got that toe in there as well before he stepped out of bounds. Just to make sure no review, we will jump out here for this PAT. And it is confirmed from the booth. It is 21-0. And just inside 2 to play here. Again, we'll jump in if things start to look a little bit closer. But 21-0, and there's 20 yards here. We're already. I feel like we should jump in then. Chippewas, are they finally coming to play? They get the 20-yard hit to start the drive. They got 3 timeouts. Quarterback taking this straight off the snap. I don't know if that was a busted play or the design the whole way. Either way, it wasn't a good call. ECU has a good stadium. They are definitely on my list of potential schools. Deep ball and a flag comes down. What happened to uncatchable? That pass was sailing over both. Chippewas going to get an easy 15 here on Christian Bodnar. I think we can let it pass, though, because he's had a really good season for us. A lot of picks from him. And a keeper here once again. Quarterback spinning off the hit this time, only to get taken down at basically the same spot. They do call their first timeout. They'll have 2 more remaining. They are at least at the 39, close to field goal range. Gonna find it there. At least they would have found it there. But a holding call is coming on in here. See a lot of these down in the Sun Belt. Do you play or sim the first year on rebuilds? I play them. The only times that I would sim is if we're starting at basically the end of the year after an actual season has finished. So if we start anything after this next football season is wrapped up, I would then make sure we have the same results, kind of like what we did if you were here for any of the program challenges that we did recently. The 3rd and 18. They've got to air this one out. Webster, he's got time. Going to look to step up, second guess, and then run and slide down to the 43. And then they'll look to punt. Not sure what that sequence was. They could have called a timeout and at least chucked that one up for the end zone. I guess that's where we're going to hit halftime. Maybe? That's about as much as we're going to get here in the final game. You know, it's been a long year. They're just getting through it, I guess. But a dramatic lead at half makes it 21-0. And that's because the game did that glitch. It's been here since Madden. I couldn't even tell you what Madden that one started at. But we got ball. And I don't remember if we started with the ball at the beginning of the game or if it was defense first. I believe it was defense first, so it doesn't really affect the outcome of things here. We would have still got ball either way. Robinson just getting by that linebacker, trying to shed the block. Not as big of a start for him in this one as compared to last game, that Sun Belt title. Just about 50 yards on his 10th carry. Looking to weave through here, but it's hard weaving for just 2. All in all, this game has seemingly focused a little bit more towards the passing attack of Weston Bryant, looking for some redemption after that title mishap performance. Quick throw to Platt. This time he does hold on, and it's a $128 through the air. So this time they just need 3 more. Will be from a spread attack to either side. A little hard count for nothing free. Quick throw is a quick catch, sitting with it. But somehow, despite how quick that play finished, Best still grabbed a jersey. And that'll back it up then to a 3rd and 13. This team has done a great job of converting these long down and distances. Can they find one more? As they spread the 2 receivers to either side out wide into a stack. And look to slip the running back in underneath. They got some blockers downfield. Weaving back inside is Robinson looking to outrun Smith. He is breaking away, and he is gone to the house on a 3rd and 13. Previously converted 3rd and 3. That time the penalty did not affect the outcome. Instead, 28-0. Branson Robinson reading the blocks well. Weston Bryant just waiting as long as he could. A good weave this time. He did have the final gear he needed. Didn't quite have that last week. Don't actually need to slow things down here as this one is becoming a bit more one-sided. Hoping the Chippewas can find something here. Just to make things a little bit more interesting. Knocked away there. 3rd and 7. They hook up 17. Though putting his body on the line there was Josiah Booker. Pure runner QBs make the game easier. You know, I've not really done much with the pure runners. I haven't liked them because they don't give me that passing option. Jaden Davis with a knock away, forcing a 4th and 8, and they just punt away. Good punt, though. We are down inside the 1. Give me a heavy set here.
Okay, ready?
I'm hoping that maybe in 27 there's a little bit more focus on the pure runners being a real threat, but I just haven't seen it. Bradley with the run here, and he was hoping for about a 99-yard run. Instead, giving us a little bit of a breather. Interesting that they had him in instead of Robinson. I guess he needed a little bit more time to recover after that previous touchdown. Big block there from the receiver. Robinson scooting up to the 30. Just like that, we erased the threat of our own end zone. We'll say, though, dual threat quarterbacks have been my primary quarterbacks in this game. We hand this one off. Break the tackle. Robinson shucks him off. That'll be another 4 for him. Smith that time able to get this tackle. He's their edge man. Makes sense why he wasn't able to keep up then. As we got an open man outside, but somehow they weren't able to hook up. Looks like an easy throw a high schooler can make. Guess that's why we still look to bring in high schoolers and don't just stick to the transfer portal. As we need something to open up. How about downfield? Lofting that one in beautifully. This time finding Walton over the head of the linebacker as he's separated from the cover man. Tight end has been a big part of this offense. A little bit surprising. Wasn't the thought heading in. Going to focus a little bit more on these outside receivers, but tight ends and slot receivers really have dominated. As there's nothing but grass in front for Brian, he will scoot down to the 23. Now, we'll say he is a backfield creator. Also haven't been a huge fan of the backfield creators. I don't know why. They just don't seemingly play. Should have handed that one off. As good as I expect them to. Might be due to their abilities. But it is 2nd and 13. And we'll send that one outside to Walton. The good enough block from Dallas. He picks up 2, and we've got another unlikely score. The tight end weaving through the defense, and the receiver laying down 2 big blocks. I hope we get that on the review here, or replay, I should say. You don't quite get the first one there, but the second one comes up huge. That's teammate play coming from Dallas. And 35-0 following this PAT. Absolute shellacking here in the Salute to Service Bowl. Coach, I'm sure, is already on the sideline taking some phone calls from some other teams around the country. Just don't tell the NCAA. That would be tampering. It looks like we'll get the ball back here with one more play in the third before we head to the final quarter of play here for Coach Moreau in College Football 26. And this time, Dallas might just make it a quick one at the 50, 40, 30, 20. Jackson in pursuit, but he will not catch him. He just sprints straight to the end zone, and we've got one more score here in the third as we head to the fourth after this PAT. How do you do coach mode? I'm imagining it's one of the things you can select when you're going into the game, like if you choose to play the moments or anything like that. Haven't fully checked, but I know that's where you could change some things before, so I imagine that's where they put it. But again, I can't answer that one 100% because I haven't got my hands on that game yet. But to the fourth we go with a dominant showing. And if you want to make sure you don't miss Coach Moreau's beginning of College Football 27, then make sure, if you haven't already, you hit that bell icon down below so you get notified and when everything happens here on this channel. It's a good thing, though, you don't have your notifications on for every score for us in this one. Otherwise, your phone would be going off. Pass knocked away after 2 good plays there for the Chippewas, but they answer back Josiah Booker. They're on the move here. Let's see if they could finally break this goose egg. We're going to jump on in as we are inside 8 to play on the season. They're going to have themselves a full backfield here. Webster, though, looking to throw. Shuffling forward and then finally looking to run and dive head first. Don't see that one too often. They're going to keep with that same look, though, flipping it here at the 36. Hand off Bodiford down the middle and getting close to the marker, though, going to be about a yard short. Both teams bringing out their bigs. Goal line v. goal line set here at the 32. And it's a dive forward here for the quarterback. Sneak in for that first down. Excited to see if the new mechanic finally kind of takes away that cheese. As they go speed option here, but there's no playing with the speed coming off the edge there. That is Ticket with a quick stuff against this 4-2-5 defense. A little bit of a hybrid man at that position. And they're going with a reverse, but it's not going to work out. All over it for the stuff. 3rd and 17. They're at the 38. They need about the 20. Penalty down as Webster throws over the middle, breaking away and close to getting the first down mark in vain. This one is coming back. Boy, doesn't that sound familiar if it was us out there. So 3rd and 27. They're now back on the midfield logo. No fakes this time, but the result's going to be a sack. Quick off the edge. 4th and 36. At this point, why not go for it? They're not going to, though. No fun. They send out the punting team. See if we get ourselves a nice return here. I believe it's Tommy Maher back. However, he's not going to get his hands on that one. They send it straight to the media sideline. Now we're going to look to start running this one to a close. The final set of plays here as Robinson runs through two, stretching forward and getting that first down. Even up as much as we are, that man still tries to run through everyone, looking for yet another 100-yard game. We'll check at the end the stats of everybody, where we finish in certain award races, trophy races. Yet I know at one point we were the top option for the Heisman with Robinson, but that injury took it away from him, which is really unfortunate. Did win it, though, the first year at ULM with Bam McReynolds. High pass, incomplete. Just a little bit of some inaccuracy there. As we check the play here. Head count in our favor. Robinson, though, doesn't get the block, so actually had the head count even. Luckily, he still managed that first down. Let this clock continue to roll. Well, let me know what you guys are really looking forward to in College Football 27, things you want to see Coach Moreau do. And if any of these players that we have played with these last two seasons, we should have on our radar for our first off season. I believe two options what we would have had out there in Bam McReynolds and Robinson, both will be graduating, so they will not be able to join us in College Football 27. Though again, that would have been great. Good grab there from Dallas. 345, 6 touchdowns, and the pick today is a pretty good stat sheet here for Weston Bryan. Maybe Trujillo. I don't know how well he is in College Football 27, but we might keep an eye on him as well. He was a fun freshman we had back at ULM. Receiver, played our slot. Gary is also graduating, so no bringing him over. Maybe we've got to keep an eye here on Elijah Walton. Not sure if he's going to be a senior or not. We might have one more here for Gary as he dives in. Racking up more points here and not quite running this one to a close. But that should be our final play out on the field, barring any sort of weirdness and a quick turnover forced by the defense. Weston Bryan lobs this one downfield to his 6'5" senior receiver. And he takes it to the house in the Salute to Service Bowl. Let's change this on up to the normal. And hopefully send ourselves then to the end of this one. Chippewas, they might be goose-egged here. Time doesn't allow, and it does not. It is a one-sided affair. Georgia Southern decimates Central Michigan in the Salute to Service Bowl. An absolute shellacking, left, right, and center. Anything they wanted to do, they were able to do today. And I think that all started with that first drive from the Chippewas. Looks like they were getting something going. Then they fumbled. For the final time here, let's kick that music back on. Let's get the face back on in here. And let's return to the hub to officially bring this series to a close. And it's been a good one here on the channel. A lot more people have caught this series over the last about month or so as we've been building up towards College Football 27 and just continuing to set records here. Single game passing touchdowns record for Georgia Southern. Weston Bryan. We'll keep an eye on him, that's for sure, as we take home that trophy. That is the case full here for Coach Bronson Moreau. And if we just go take a look here at the stats, let's do our little end of series wrap. Weston Bryan this year, he threw for over 3,000 yards, 31-45, for 35 touchdowns and 13 picks. That is an 11% touchdown rate, 4-to-1 on the interception to touchdown or touchdown interception ratio, or actually no, that's 2-to-7. That doesn't make sense. Ignore the 2-to-7 or 2.7, 2.7 touchdowns to 1. Maybe that, yeah, that makes more sense. Ignore the first thing I said. Apparently reading stats, not my forte. It's a 4.1% interception rate, which is honestly really, really solid. Rushing was almost 1,700 yards here for Branson Robinson. He averaged 7.3 a carry, and he missed, I think, 3, maybe 4 games, so he could have passed 2,000. 15 rushing touchdowns. He averaged a $153.6 a game, 14 runs of 20+. His long of the year, only 65, but 567 of his yards were all yards after contact. Only 1 fumble for him on the year. I mean, just a phenomenal performance for him. And on top of that, Weston Bryan ran for an additional 665 yards and 10 more touchdowns, 8 for 20+. He had 96 yards after contact, long of only 28, 8 fumbles. That was a problem for him. We did see a little bit of Bradley check in late on in the season, helping spill out for Branson Robinson while he was injured. He ran for close to 600 yards, 6.6 an average with 6 touchdowns. That's devilish work if you ask me. As for the receiving game, Dylan Gary leads us in receiving in terms of receptions, yards, not quite touchdowns. So he doesn't get the triple crown there. The leader in touchdown catches was Josh Dallas, who honestly, a little bit disappointing. Was kind of hoping we'd get a little bit more there from him, but he showed up at some big points of the season. And Platt had a good end to the season. Maher really did not get going much at all. He had sparing catches, but frankly, he was just out of our field of vision most of the season. So I think we're going to toy with the veer and shoot. Maybe tighten things up a little bit, not as wide of splits. I know that kind of changes things. It's not as much the veer and shoot, but we're going to probably play a hybrid. Veer and shoot and a power spread offense in College Football 27. And we're going to see how that defense everyone talks about matches up against it. Now, while we didn't give up a whole lot of sacks this year, we did give up a whole lot of penalties. And that is something I would love to see a stat being kept here. It's not kept specifically here, but I think we can find that in the team statistics. So we will check that as well. Oh no, we had a lot of offensive linemen play due to all those penalties that we had. So I guess a shout out to that. Good depth. Didn't see much of the defense, but Jaden Davis did lead us in tackles. TFL leader was MJ Stroud, who also led us in sacks with 10.5. And we did have a fair amount of turnovers this year. 3 players with 2 picks, 3 more here with a pick apiece. And in terms of fumbles, we did force a good amount here. That is 6, and we recovered 7. That's because I miscounted. No, I did count right. You got 4 there plus a 2. So there was a mystery fumble recovery. Not sure what that's about, but I'm not going to be against it. No blocks, no safeties. And we already went past the touchdowns. None of those either. Kicking here was pretty solid, I would say, for the most part. Had 2 missed field goals, 1 missed extra point. Didn't see much from the return game. That's fine. But let's check the penalties here at the end of the season, because I imagine it's really bad. If we see penalties here, who had the most amount of penalties? Not us. Surprisingly, Delaware had 104, Ball State 103, East Carolina 102. Where do we fall here? I mean, we're still towards the top. 87. It was an average of about 6 per game. Definitely felt like a lot more in certain games. We lost about 800 yards in total this season, just in penalties, about 60 yards per game. That is nasty work. And then for the last thing to check is the records here for Georgia Southern. And that is where we are going to wrap it on up. Getting on down here. In terms of Adrian Peterson played at Georgia Southern? Did he play there before he transferred to OU? I'm going to have to, I mean, I'm sure that it's right if it shows that here. Yeah, I don't know how I never realized that. Yeah. Crazy. I'm just checking Pro Football Reference real quick. Don't want to see NFL. I want to see the college. Huh. Well, I'm not going to dig through that too much and take up your time. But yeah, there you go. Did not know that. Adrian Peterson. Weston Bryan career passing yards with 6,140, and the dude was just a sophomore. So that would have kept on going if we had the opportunity. Passing touchdowns with 55 as well. We jump over to game stats. Weston Bryant with passing touchdowns with 5. And for season, Weston Bryant passing yards, 3,145. And passing touchdowns with 35. Josh Dallas did break the receiving touchdown record as well with 11. So we set some records here this year. And we're going to see how many more records we can break when College Football 27 officially comes out and we find our new home for Coach Bronson Moreau. We'll be sticking to the southeastern side here of the United States as towards where we end up. Well, offers are coming in. You'll have to make a decision here shortly. Leave your ideas on what school you think would best fit Coach Moreau and his veer and shoot / power spread style offense, and he will be bringing the 3-3-5 defense wherever he ends up. As for you guys here today, I appreciate you tuning in on what ended up being a fun stream for us, a little bit shorter than I think we were hoping, as we were really hoping to make the playoffs. But make sure you don't miss out on what we talk about between now and the release of College Football 27. If you haven't already, make sure you do subscribe. You hit that bell icon in the bottom right, or you can scroll on down. And if you find yourself down below, well, then make sure you also got that bell notification button on. And to wrap it all up, you know I got to go there. If you enjoyed, hit that like button. We will be back tomorrow with a shorter video as I kind of explain a little bit more about what I think the practices should be in College Football 27. And then next week, we're going to get into breaking down defenses, reading them properly, and making sure that you are set up for success offensively. College Football 27 comes out. Until then, thank you all for being here. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and we will see you later.